Hi, this is Sheriff Garry McFadden with another edition of MCSO News 45. Well, today I'm coming to you to talk to you about House Bill 318. House Bill 318 is on the governor's desk, and the governor has a chance to veto it or let the bill pass. But I want to clarify a lot of misconception and misinformation by local media, local politicians, and even some of our citizens about House Bill 318. So House Bill 318 was created after House Bill 10. And a lot of people say that the House Bill 318 was because of the sheriff here in Mecklenburg County, Sheriff Garry McFadden, me, because I questioned some of the things that were not in House Bill 10. And what I question about what was not in House Bill 10 is the legal transfer of a state inmate to federal custody. Nor the ICE detainer or the ICE warrant allows me to turn anyone over to ICE if they still have state charges here in North Carolina. House Bill 10 came out in December 1st. We've had over 240 undocumented residents, immigrants inside our detention center that ICE has not picked up. Why? I believe that they well know they do not have the legal right to remove someone from the Mecklenburg County Detention Center without what we call a writ. And we talked about that earlier, a writ signed by a federal judicial assistant. So the dispute with me and the lawmakers in Raleigh have created House Bill 318. Now, House Bill 318, here's what it's going to do. It is also going to expand the list of crimes that are required by law enforcement to determine someone's citizenship. Well, that doesn't have a lot to do with us, but we will follow law. And here's why. Anytime someone is arrested in Mecklenburg County and brought to the Mecklenburg County Detention Center, my deputies ask them 3 questions. And those 3 questions pertain to citizenship. And if anyone says that they are not a citizen of the United States, at that time, we are going to contact ICE. That to me is called cooperation. So when the media says that we are not cooperating with ICE, it's misleading you and giving you false information and creating a false narrative. So after we determine that a person is not a citizen of the United States, we query ICE, means that we contact ICE. At that time, if ICE chooses to, they will send over a civil detainer and a civil warrant. You have to understand a civil detainer and a civil warrant is not a legal judicial signed document. It is an official document of ICE that I said before, but it's not a legal signed document. Now, the wordplay will come again. Well, Sheriff McFadden is not honoring ICE detainers and he's not honoring ICE warrants. Well, Sheriff McFadden will receive a detainer and he will receive a civil warrant in order for us to take that same individual in front of a magistrate. At that time, the magistrate is going to look at all the paperwork and determine if the paper coincides with the person who's standing in front of them. In other words, is the name on this paper, is the person standing in front of them. Now you have to remember that federal detainer and that federal warrant does not put criminal charges on this person who is now in the Mecklenburg County Detention Center on state charges. So the person still has state charges. So House Bill 10 says that the 48 hours would begin at the time that we receive the detainer and also the civil warrant. House Bill 318 has changed that. In the beginning, House Bill 10 says the 48 hours starts then. If House Bill 318 passes, that 48 hours will not start until that person is about to be released, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. When that person is going to be released, then the 48 hours then starts. So moving forward, when the detainer is received by us and the civil document warrant by us, we take them before a magistrate. At that time, the magistrate will determine if that's the same person. When that magistrate determines that is the same person, 2 things are going to happen. At that time, a 48-hour hold will be placed on that person, but also a release order telling me that after all the criteria of this person's release are met and they have passed the 48 hours mark, then they are to be released. Now, in House Bill 10, that 48 hours came very quickly. Now, if House Bill 318 passes, that 48 hours will only begin at the end of that person's stay in the Mecklenburg County Detention Center. So here's the difference. The 48 hours in House Bill 10 began when we received the detainer and the civil warrant. Now, the 48-hour begins after the person has met all the criteria and is about to be released. Then we start the 48 hours at the end of their stay in the Mecklenburg County Detention Center. And that's important to know. And here's why. Because now Mecklenburg County residents will be paying $398 on each and every person that remains inside the Mecklenburg County Detention Center on that 48-hour hold. So now it doesn't matter what the charges are. It doesn't matter whether they could have been released or paid their bond. Now, at the end of their release period, they will be held an additional 48 hours. That is going to be on the 100% backs of the Mecklenburg County residents at $398 a stay. It's $199 a day at the Mecklenburg County Detention Center. Now, a lot of supporters says that this for public safety, and it would enhance the public safety and for the cooperating with ICE. The misconception that has been over and over and over and over in the media is that we are not cooperating with ICE. We are cooperating with ICE. But what ICE is wanting me to do, I do not believe it is legal. Well, I will tell you that I don't see that it is legal because ICE does not have the legal foundation to remove someone from state custody with state charges and move them into a federal deportation. They can do it by several different ways. They can have an indictment, a federal complaint, and a federal warrant. Will also generate a writ for me to transfer that person into federal custody. Or they can also charge them with all the two federal crimes that they have that they could, but they sometimes choose not to. So the concerns that I have about 318 is this: trust, discriminatory tactics, and it creates also a problem with law enforcement dealing with undocumented immigrants in the Charlotte metro area. Why? Because crimes are committed against them, and of course they commit crimes also. But here's why. The cooperation with law enforcement will not be there because of trust and fear. But the main issue that I want to stress today, if House Bill 318 passes, we will follow the law. We will follow the law. But the other issue will be is $398 will be attached to each and every undocumented immigrant inside the Mecklenburg County Detention Center prior to them being released. So 100% of this cost of housing undocumented immigrants inside the Mecklenburg County Detention Center will be on the backs of Mecklenburg County residents. So I want to make sure that you understand that Mecklenburg County will be paying for a federal issue and a federal problem. Now, the last part is this. Mecklenburg County Sheriff will always follow the law. If you want to ask anyone who says that I'm not cooperating or not following the law, ask them what part of the law that I'm not following or not cooperating with. I'm simply asking ICE to do this. If you choose to take this person in federal custody, obtain a federal warrant and a writ, which is an order by a judicial official ordering me to place this person into federal custody, which will be placed in federal deportation. A detainer nor this federal civil warrant, which are both civil documents, and I must add, they are both legal, non-legal documents. They are not legal documents, but they are official documents. Let me make sure we got that right. A detainer and a civil warrant are official documents of ICE. They're just not legal documents signed by a judicial official authorizing me to turn the person over to ICE agents. Now, you will always hear the public says, well, he could just turn them over and he's going to tell them when he's going to be released? Well, we are. If 318 passes, we will notify ICE 2 hours prior to that person being released. So now you have to understand this. When ICE sends that detainer over and they are about to be released from custody, state custody, with pending state charges, the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office will notify ICE that that person is going to be released. Now, but they still have to or should bring us a writ and a federal warrant. We just simply can't turn them over to them. Now, ICE can say, well, tell us when they're going to be released, which we will do because House Bill 318, if passed, will authorize us to do it. Every sheriff in North Carolina is mandated at this present time by law. North Carolina General Statute 162.62 mandates us to cooperate with ICE. Mecklenburg County does not have sanctuary policies, and that should be always stated, that we do not have sanctuary policies, so we can't be a sanctuary city. We have to follow the law because we are mandated by law by North Carolina General Statute 162.62. We are mandated by House Bill 10, and if House Bill 318 passes, we will also follow that law. We also will cooperate with that law, but ICE must understand this. They too must cooperate with us. I cannot turn someone over to them legally into their federal custody if they still have pending state charges, which will require a federal warrant accompanied by a writ. We thank you. God bless you. Have a great day.